everybody is not your friend. Everybody is not your friend. And true friends blossom through trials and tribulations. Either you're there for them or they're there for you. And it's a equally yoked situation where y'all know y'all got each other back. They always there, got your back for support through the ups and downs. But then there's those people whose their sole purpose of the friendship is one-sided. You're just there for them. You're the shoulder to lean on. You're the person to borrow money from. You're the counselor. You're the person they vent to. You're giving the information, right? But when the tables are turned, when you need those people to be there for you, you don't get the same energy. So we always make the mistake when we're doing for people and being other people's friends to assume they're our friends without it being tried and tested. Last week on the Breakfast Club, you had DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God and Tyrese, who recently, over the years, had a falling out because Tyrese had different stuff going on in his relationship. He was on psych meds, making videos, crying, and doing all these different things. But before that situation, DJ Envy got caught cheating. And his wife was going to divorce him. And behind the scenes, Tyrese was there for him. It actually was a big part saving his marriage. And then when he went through his situation, he had to learn the hard way that this man, DJ Envy, is really not his friend. Let's walk down this path.
Do you appreciate what Tyrese did for you?
Of course.
No. Okay, just making sure.
I'll explain it. Yeah.
All right.
Was going through a hard time. Cheated on my wife. My wife wanted to get a divorce. Charlamagne talked me into apologizing on the radio and calling her live.
That
Okay,
was not
Martin
Charlamagne.
Lawrence, what the hell? Why would you ever?
That didn't happen.
Bad idea.
What?
But it was a good idea. I'm going to tell you why. Bad idea because I put my business on the radio.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Tyrese happened to be in town and heard some of the things that were going on. So Tyrese called to check on me and see what was going on. I was going through it. And instead of just checking and keeping moving, he stayed on top of it. To the point where he became the therapist.
Yeah.
The mediator.
Right.
The person in between.
Right. The reason that you are with your wife today.
Right.
Still.
Part of that reason.
Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. Tyrese called and said, hey, this is what I want you to do. Get a dinner. Book a private room at your house. I'm going to be there. You and your wife have a dinner, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to sing Stay, which is my favorite Tyrese song.
And you know, we all go through situations in our relationships and marriages. And it don't necessarily have to be infidelity that could cause the end of a relationship or marriage. And it's always great to have somebody that both sides are listened to, that both sides respect. In this situation, it was Tyrese. And from what I understand, they didn't really know each other. However, Tyrese being who he was and the type of heart he had, he extended that to DJ Envy and his wife. It made it his point. In his words, he said God gave him a task. So he then intervened, mediated, therapist, and I'm assuming he started to develop a friendly relationship on the surface with DJ Envy's wife, which ultimately helped their situation and got them back together.
Oh my God.
Right? And he had a violinist, and he came, and they sang Stay, and, you know, he sat down there with us for dinner and spoke to us and guided us through, as far as he could, our relationship, and you know, we had to go through other steps.
And then with all of that, Tyrese still got to beg Envy to play his record.
And then the thing is, and then y'all treat him like this when he comes here.
It's true. I don't feel, and you got to keep in mind, I look at it as heavenly deposits. When you do things for people and you're not saying, I'm going to do this because I want this out of it.
Right.
Like, the most uncomfortable part of my day thus far is just listening to Envy tell that story.
Oh, why? Why?
Because I didn't do it to be
to be praised about it.
I didn't do it because I knew that they was going to write their book together about it or be doing interviews about it. It was literally an assignment. So crazy that even before I came here to sing at this restaurant, we were already on the phone for at least 2 months. I didn't hear your interview.
Damn, I never even heard
in
anybody
New
say
York.
that before. We was on the phone for 2 months.
We was on the phone for 2 straight months because I never heard your interview from New York.
Tyrese come across as one of those clingy dudes. There's no way. See, it's one thing to help. And sometimes you do gotta get your hands dirty and really get in there and talk and hear all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And because in these relationships, man, we don't give each other grace. We don't treat each other like we treat our friends, unfortunately, in a lot of cases. We don't treat each other like family. We are hard on each other. We are unforgiving. We hold resentment. And we be so deep in it, we don't even realize that we give more grace to strangers, the people we work with, our half-ass friends, than you'll give your significant other. So
Happened for me for LA.
Oh, from LA.
Yeah, because when you announced it, it went viral. So I was able to hear the apology on the gram. So that's when I reached out to you. I flew in town just for you and your wife. This is the part that I don't appreciate about Envy. Is when Tyrese divorce comes across your headline. When the captions associated to the things that come across your desk. Where's that same heart and love that I extended to you that you could extend to me instead of it just being paper pushing?
because that's not your friend. That's not your friend. And that's where a lot of people that's good, kind-hearted, you got to guard yourself. You can't just pour into everybody and expect to get the same thing back because you set yourself up for disaster, even though he said he didn't do it for anything. But when he had his trials and tribulations, the Breakfast Club was the Breakfast Club. They reported on it. They report on everybody that's a celebrity or anybody of so-called importance. They talk about it. So, like, that's why we got to stop being so quick to call people friends and letting people in our space and bringing their energy in our space. Sometimes you can't help everybody, unfortunately. You can't. But it's more to the story.
How convenient to step back.
What you mean?
I never stepped back from you.
From you.
That's right.
You should have.
But I never
up.
talked to your wife in a disrespectful manner, and you talked to mine in a disrespectful manner. And I never told nobody that. Even when you were on, and you could say you were on those psych meds, and you could say that you weren't.
What you mean?
But as a man, some of the things that you said, Tyrese, deserved me to box your mouth. And I didn't. No.
Now, the plot thickens. Because when you listen to the first part of that, you start to look at DJ Envy kind of sideways, right? Like, dang, this man got his hands dirty, did all these things that he did to be a mediator and a therapist to try to help your marriage, and he did. But he's saying he's being rewarded with the opposite when he went through his situation with the reporting. But then DJ Envy go as far as the kind of hint that something else was going on there, that he felt like he disrespected his wife. So originally I was scratching my head like, what did he do to disrespect his wife? Did he come at his wife? One thing, and that's why like a lot of people of the opposite sex can't become friends, because you start to have emotional affairs, right? And what I mean by that, you start confiding my problems. You start to be able to talk to that other person better and more than you could talk to your significant other. When you think about him being a therapist and mediator, she had to confide in him and he and her. And what I mean by he and her is that he had to be relatable. Oh yeah, I understand this, because then he'll give his spiel when, to identify with her situation. Now they understanding each other, and indirectly they're going to get some type of connection. Right? So, after the interview, I guess him watching the interview, seeing how DJ Envy was reacting to the situation and how everybody was reacting to the box your face up, Tyrese being Tyrese, he went and made a response video. And let's see what he got to say, because there's definitely layers to this.
I got a lot of people texting and calling and all in my comments and thinking about the obvious things, right? Man, I must be triggered. I must be annoyed. I got people like, check on Tyrese, y'all go check on him. Because y'all know that was a very, very hard conversation to have. Some very big, some very disappointing reveals. And I'm gonna make a choice. I'm gonna make a choice that I wish both DJ Envy and Charlemagne had made for me for the last 5 years, as I've been going through too many things.
I'm going to say this. As men, we got to balance ourselves out. You can't be out here wearing all your feelings on your sleeves. You can't. I don't know if that's a product of too much therapy, where you just become Mr. Express yourself in every shape, form, or fashion, or whatever the case may be. But we can't be too wide open like this, because we leaving ourselves open. Men got to carry themselves a certain type of way. There's a balance to it. Yeah, you should express yourself. You can't confide in everybody. And see, this is a behavior pattern with him. He's open like this with everybody, probably you're my brother, you're this, you're that, or whatever. And it's all in his character. It's probably not necessarily bad, but one thing his therapist should have told him is hey, is a balance to everything. Can't just be pitting yourself out there like that.
Me and your wife were communicating.
Call him on the phone.
August 11th, 2022. August 11th, 2012. Look, I said something that was 7 hours and 3 she said without fail. I got receipts. I'm sending images of my new Rolls Royce to your wife. I know y'all always got nice cars and this and that. If she blocked me, if I actually disrespected her, as you allege, and you felt the way, how are we communicating August 22nd, 2023? It's shit, bro. That's look what your wife just texted back and said. Absolutely beautiful. Talking about me purchasing an island in Turks and Caicos. That was August 23rd, 2023. Come on, man. And the last time that all three of us was on the text chain, we were actually going back and forth trying to figure out when can we...
Far as in conversations he had with his wife. And in those conversations, he was talking about, showing her, sending her, texting DJ Envy's wife back and forth, right? I'm going to say this, as a married man, that's a fucking no-no. You gotta respect boundaries. It's he's texting the wife a bunch of different stuff, right? She's sending one comment replies, like one word replies or whatever the case may be. While he on the other hand is just texting. He sent her pictures of a car, like, you like my new car. I think it was a Bentley. And his excuse was, he know they like cars or whatever the case may be, right? To me, personally, then also he sent the pictures of an island that he posed to purchase, right? It's kind of inappropriate in a sense because, like, he's like showing his stripes. I'm this, I'm that. He's trying to be appealing to another man's wife. What that got to do with anything? Now, he never knew these people originally. He didn't know DJ Envy like that. He didn't even know his real name. He was calling him Envy. When he spoke to the wife said the name. He was like, oh, that's his name? So he didn't even know these people. So now he's texting the wife, casual conversations, a whole lot of text messages, and she just sending one-word replies. One-word replies. Man, that'll get you something, texting another man's wife. Again, being the type of person he is with all the emotion and all these different things, we can see where this situation going. So after he did this video where he showed his receipts or whatever, right? And the receipts is the text message that I just spoke about. And was trying to say, hey, it was all innocent, but he don't even realize, like, yo, any man, you ain't got to be married. Anybody texting your girl like that is a problem. Period. All right, you fix what you fixed a couple of years ago, but you don't need to be casually texting nobody's wife. It's a respect thing. It's just a respect thing. So if a singing nigga was texting his wife, regardless of what the conversation's about, he's going to feel away. So anyway, because he posts those receipts saying, hey, it was all innocent, but if me from the outside looking in, it may be innocent, but it's just too much chit chat with another man's wife. So anyway, as a follow-up, DJ Envy brings his wife on the show to talk about what actually happened. And now it all makes sense why DJ Envy had that energy for him. Hold on. And this is where it all makes sense.
Am I on the radio?
Yes, you are. You're on the radio. Tyrese is calling me a liar. For people that don't know, I stopped talking to Tyrese, and there was a reason why I stopped talking to Tyrese. Not because only did I think he was a bozo and full of ish, but also because of the way that I felt he was talking and conducting business with my wife. Tyrese helped save our relationship. When we were going through probably our lowest point and I cheated, Tyrese came in and really helped us and guided us through our relationship, correct?
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
And then we got to a point where we stopped talking to Tyrese. I even blocked Tyrese, and I wanted to box his mouth, as I said the other day. And can you explain to the people why we stopped talking to Tyrese?
Well, we stopped talking to Tyrese on two different occasions. Once, many, many years ago, when he did do that amazing thing for us. He and I became friends, and we were very, very cool, and we spoke often. But for me, it got to a point where it became inappropriate and uncomfortable, where I felt as though lines were being crossed. You know, there was times where I felt like he was extremely demanding of my time and of my attention.
And you can see that by how emotional this dude is. So some people will try to hide behind mental illness and hide behind things and have hidden agendas. He may have not walked into that situation with malice, but as he spoke to this woman, he started like, dang, I like her. He started feeling that man's wife. To as though after the fact, he texting the wife, he doing the three-way with all of them group texts, but then he's texting the wife on the side. He was digging her. And now I see why DJ Envy was talking sideways with that beige rage, talking about want to box your mouth. It makes sense.
If I didn't give him my time and my attention, he would get very angry, get very upset, At that time, I didn't feel as though he was going through any mental issues. I didn't feel as though he was facing any mental challenges at that time. I know that he does go through things, and I know that he has been on medication, but at that time I felt as though he was very clear-minded and everything seemed cool. But when I started to feel uncomfortable and you started to feel uncomfortable, we took a step back.
Well, what lines were crossed?
And
Because people would be
then,
like, well, what lines did he cross?
I don't really feel comfortable being specific because at the same time, I still do have a respect for him. I know that you still do have a respect for him. I would feel more comfortable just being general and saying that, there was flirting and inappropriate compliments for a woman who's married.
Okay.
Exactly. Again, you can see how that happens. You can't trust every man around your wife, and he got got a foot in the door when he was in a vulnerable situation. DJ Envy was down on his last leg with his marriage, and he swooped in and gained trust as a stranger and leveraged that trust to keep talking to this man's wife. And as he's communicating, Tyrese is on one end building connection, building an emotional bond, or trying to with his wife, but the wife already peeped game. It got uncomfortable because he was liking her too much. And like she said, the compliments and all that, he talking to another man's wife. That'll get you killed.
To say?
Yeah,
Is that fair to say?
I don't have respect for him though, but yeah, no, I get it, and you do it, and I appreciate that what he
So
did.
how did you see it?
No,
Envy?
I know,
Huh?
I know that I know that everything that's going on right now, and I know that he's being boisterous about it. I haven't been on Instagram in the last 2 weeks because we've been really busy, but you've told me some things, but I haven't really seen it firsthand, so it's not going to affect me the same way it's affecting you because I haven't seen it. But what I can say is that very clear lines were crossed, and
Now I get it.
So how did you see it, Envy?
There's certain things that you don't say to a man's wife. There's certain things that you don't say to a man's girlfriend. There's certain things that you
Right.
don't say in a flirtatious way. And I told you what he said. You spoke to my wife yesterday, so you know what he said.
So that's why you wanted to box. That's why you said I'll box your mouth.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to box his mouth. It's just certain things you don't play with somebody's wife like that.
Were
And
you upset that he wasn't flirting with you in any way, shape, or form?
a little bit. No, you see, you playing too much. But no, when it comes to it, I look at it like this. Tyrese did help save my marriage, and I have a respect for him for that. That's the reason why instead of going at him, I just let it go. I just not spoke to him anymore until he starts going up. Now, I don't know if he has a record to sell. He's trying to push his record or whatever it may be. I just don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is that man was up here. He was in our faces. We had a conversation. After the conversation, we let things go. And it's just always weird when people do that. They go home and now all of a sudden they do other things. We just had a conversation. We was just here for an hour and 30 minutes.
I don't want to talk out both sides of my mouth because originally I was like, when it comes to friends, and I still mean that when it comes to friends, you got to be friendships. We can't just throw that title on people because it's one of those things where you guys got to see how things play out and how people be there for you, the good and the bad. This man, on the other hand, didn't know him. And another thing with him not knowing, that don't mean that he's in there attracted to that man's wife the whole time. He's talking to her and he all talking probably in himself, saying to himself, like, I wouldn't do you like that. You know what I mean? And originally they were saying that DJ Envy didn't give him grace. He really did give him grace because he could have put him out there and said exactly what he said. He could have said exactly what he said and embarrassed him. And we'll just be talking about that. But they is extending grace.
That was strange.
But I just don't like to be called a liar. And when somebody says, I got receipts, when I'm like, no, you spoke to my wife.
What receipts? What do you mean he said he has receipts? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't want to be put in a position to divulge the things that were said. But if he's calling you a liar, then that's a step that might have to be taken. Because by no stretch of the imagination are you a liar. By no stretch of the imagination are you exaggerating anything.
Okay.
It was very clear. It was very inappropriate, and your reaction was very appropriate.
And I also want to say, when he said I didn't check on him, How many messages did I send you yesterday where I showed you that I checked on them numerous times?
I'm sick of y'all. And
I'm just asking.
I'm be honest with you. I'm sick of
I'm
you
just
and Tyrese.
asking. I'm just.
And I think y'all are lovers.
You think so?
I do. This is what I think this is all about. I think
He's not my type.
I think his next album is about both his exes.
All right, well, that's basically it. But I'm gonna say this, man. There's a such thing called boundaries, man, and like, it's not to say that in every situation somebody gonna do something inappropriate, whatever, or cross the line. But for no reason should no man be texting your wife or you to be texting other women, because it can happen. Even though I'm a stand-up guy, you can text me. I'm not trying to holler. But at the same time, like, it's out of respect for my wife. I ain't texting nobody. There's no reason to have nobody number or vice versa. Period. Because it opens the door for stuff like that